차려, 경례. Guys, we're here with Patrick James, the CEO of Keller Williams Executives. How are you, Patrick?
I'm doing fantastic,
Good, good.
John. Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, so we got COVID-19. Dude, we got COVID-19, and I'm brand new to this business. I heard that I got to do open houses. I've heard I had to do door knocking to get leads, get prospects, get buyers, sellers. I can't do that. It's COVID. What do I do, Patrick? That's the topic today. What do I do?
Oh my goodness. So I appreciate you saying that, John, because this is a real topic. And I believe that the very first thing that we have to do is start here. It's not what we can't do, it's what we can do.
Okay.
So, meaning that, okay, we can go through a laundry list of what we can't do.
Hmm.
Yet the reality is what can we do? This is the time when it's a really exciting time, actually, because it's an even playing field, whether you're a brand new agent or an experienced agent. Because these times are causing some experienced agents to question what they're doing as well, right?
Yes.
So, really when we look at things is what's going to be truly important to the consumer? What's going to be important to our friends, our family, our loved ones, our colleagues, right?
Hmm.
And their loved ones. So the first thing, if I was going to be a brand new agent and I was going to look at this, we know that we have to reach out to our database.
Hmm.
And we've chatted about this before. Some folks will say, gosh, I'm brand new, I don't have a database. The reality is you have a database. It's just how do you have it stored? Is it in your cell phone? Is it like the good old days, John, when we had Rolodex, right? Remember those
Yeah.
days?
Yes.
Yeah, it was still a database.
Uh-huh.
So it's really, how do we create a system around that database? So if I was looking at my cell phone, for example, let's say I don't have anything else, but I have a cell phone, then I'm going to go structure my week on based on the alphabet on who I'm going to call A, B, C's, D, E, F, right? And I'm going to focus on that on each day of the week, Monday through Friday, and maybe even on the weekends, right? Because now when we would be normally at an open house, we're having to pivot and do something a little bit different. So the question becomes is, what does that call look like? And gosh, John, during these times, I don't want to call my database and say, hey, who do you know looking to buy, sell, or invest, right? Do they really want to hear that, or do they want to hear, how are you doing? How are
Okay.
you doing during all of this, right? How's your family doing during all of this? And really caring authentically about them. So this isn't a sales call. This is
Hmm.
what we call a care call. Now, the key around having a care call is being able to dovetail that into business at some point, right?
Hmm.
So it's, hey, you want to script with me, John?
Sure.
Let's
Let's
do a
do it.
call right now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so you're in my database, John, and I'm calling you. Ring, ring.
Hello. Who's
Hey,
this?
John, it's Patrick James over at Keller Williams. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. Hey, good to hear from you. I haven't heard from you in a while.
I know. I apologize, and really, I wanted to let you know, first and foremost, you've really been on my mind lately, and your family has. So before anything else, how are you guys doing?
It was really scary at first for our family, but I think we're as a whole family, I think we're kind of getting used to this new normal. So I
Mm-hmm.
think we're adjusting pretty well under the circumstances. Thank you for
Good.
asking. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And before I even go on to anything else in our conversation, is
Hmm.
there anything that I could do for you today, real estate related or not
Oh,
real estate related?
oh wow. I wasn't even thinking about real estate. But yeah, I think I have a couple of rental properties that I've been thinking about. What should I do? Should I keep it? Should I buy more rentals, or should I sell some 1031 some of those into something else? So yeah, I wasn't really thinking about that because it's COVID. So
Yeah. Well, John, the reason I asked that question is COVID or no COVID, you still may have some real estate needs in 2020. And I'd love to be that
Oh,
person who you lean on.
but I thought nobody was able to show houses. Is that allowed now? I mean, are people showing houses or what's happening?
It depends on where they're at and kind of what, especially here in Colorado, what county and what city, what county, and how that all looks, right? So
Hmm.
I would definitely recommend double checking that.
Oh, wow.
Um, the key though is
Hmm.
that no matter what's happening,
Hmm.
there is real estate being bought and sold.
Okay. Okay.
And it actually, and that's a statistic that's out there right now that says, there's a lot of opportunity out there,
Hmm.
and some of it is coming from authentically a good part in my heart that I can say, hey, you know what, I feel great about helping you out.
Hmm.
And my other question to you, John, before I let you go off of our phone call, is going to be who in your neighborhood may be struggling, who could use some help.
Oh, wow. I didn't, yeah, maybe. I don't know. That's a good question. I may have to, look around, but I'm sure there's people who are struggling in my neighborhood. I'm sure.
Yeah. And I think I would love to be able to help them. And like I said, this doesn't have to be a real estate conversation. Maybe they need a dog groomer. Maybe
Oh.
they need, maybe
Hmm.
they need something else. Maybe they need food delivered, or there's some kind of service that they're looking for. It may not have anything to do with real estate.
Hmm.
Yet, as the center of our network and being our neighborhood expert, I'd love to be able to help them, and
Okay.
and I and also to be able to say, hey, John
Hmm.
referred you,
Hmm.
and he said that you might need some help with getting your fence painted. I have a couple companies that would love to come over there and give you a
Hmm.
great deal. Are you interested?
Okay.
So, yeah, and you know, bef- the other piece, John, is I know you mentioned you had some real estate needs with rental properties as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
So why don't we set up a time where we can chat a little bit further about those rental properties,
Hmm.
and then we can come up with a strategy together, because it's got to be about you.
Okay. I'm good, but yeah, my wife, she's got these conditions, so I'm not sure if I could meet in person. How are you be okay to do a Zoom call or something like that? Are you comfortable doing that?
Yeah, I think we
Okay.
pivoted into our new environment,
Okay.
and
Okay.
if the environment needs to be Zoom, that's okay. That's
Okay.
not going to slow us down,
I
John.
know
We'll still make.
some realtors are really slow with technology, so just wanted to check, make sure you're.
It's really
Hmm.
interesting, because we have realtors right now. There's three categories.
Hmm.
There's the first category that's extremely busy,
Hmm.
right?
Yes.
They're seeing the lion's share of the business right now. What's wild about it, though, it's not just experienced agents, it's some of the new agents too.
Hmm.
They're just adjusting even faster to this new environment.
Hmm.
Then you're having the second category here that's saying, gosh, this is really hard,
Hmm.
right? This
Hmm.
is really hard.
Right.
And just being completely authentic like that, we're having to change how we do business overnight, and some of these changes will be permanent.
Yeah.
So going with an agent who understands these changes and how to use the technology to enhance this relationship
Hmm.
is it gives you one up on the competition.
Oh, wow. Hey, so I'm gonna hire you. So let's go.
Hey, let's go. Let's do this.
That was a great call. That was a great practice. Yeah. But yeah, let's touch on that. So there are three types of realtors right now that I see in my office, that you see in your office. As you know, I got guys who are selling 50, 100, 200 homes a year.
Yeah,
And I can't even talk to them because they're so busy. And then I
right.
have other realtors who are crying, of course. I can't do anything. I'm scared to do anything. So, so it's our job as managers and owners to convince or motivate these brokers. So that's our topic today. So let's cover that a little bit more, sir. Let's go
I
into,
love that.
yeah.
I love that. I think the very first piece, it has to start with mindset.
Mm-hmm.
It has to. And if we look at the word fear, it's got to start up here,
Mm-hmm.
and it goes here, and then
With
from
your heart.
here,
Yeah.
if you're being authentic
Mm-hmm.
and you feel right within yourself, the message that you share is going to be authentic as well,
Right.
right? Because you're not in conflict.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's also embracing the fact that there's a lot of different stresses going on out there.
Oh, yeah.
So give yourself some grace.
Yeah.
right? Like, give yourself some grace. Just don't get stuck in a rabbit hole. Wipe the one tear away, get rid of it, and let's get back to work, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think really when we're looking at the agents and what's working versus what's not working, and as I said, it's a level playing field. When you look at the word fear, it's false expectations appearing real. John, it's not real. It sure feels real though, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I think that's a key piece in going in and having what we call a care call, which is what you and I just scripted around. And that's going to be always asking that question, do they still have real estate needs in 2020? How can we best help them?
Right.
Now, the follow-up question to that, John, is if they say, yes, I do, no, I don't, whatever that answer is, awesome. Who do you know that may still have real estate needs in 2020? I'd love to be able to reach out to them and have a conversation like we're having today. So now they know that not only am I reaching out to you, but I'm also, instead of working around you, John, I'm working through you because I love working with you. So if I have a fantastic client relationship, I'm going to go for that and try to mimic that over and over and over because it gives me energy as well. It makes my day more exciting.
Yeah, when we're out there helping people. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I would recommend is when you're really looking at your database, what would your database look like when you add, not if, see, I'm changing my language there, when I add, not if I add, when I add 2 prospects to my database every single day. Now, the question is, how do I do that, John? Because in the good old days, those were open houses. Those were door knocking. Those were doing client events, right?
Yes.
Here's what's cool. We're in a time period now where we're still able to do those things. We just have to do it a little bit differently. So we're on a Zoom call right now, right? What if I was to do a Zoom call where I create a group and I talk about how do you sell your home in COVID times? How do you sell your home and take COVID out?
Yeah.
What does this look like if this is our new market, at least for the time being? I can't control tomorrow, and I sure can't do anything about yesterday. I can control today though as much as I possibly can, right? I can focus on the moment now. So what is the market of the moment? And that may be something I share with my database. Now, here's what's interesting about that. And this can be a brand new agent, experienced agent, all the way across, right? I may not be doing a Facebook post around interest rates are 2.5%. We're seeing that everywhere.
Right.
So instead of saying that, I may create a story, right? My good friend John Parks was able to lock in a 2.5 interest rate, and this is what it created for him and his family. Isn't that exciting? Would you like to learn more? Now I'm getting your interest. It's also an open question, not a closed question. So that closed question is yes and no, right? The open question causes you to think. And there's one of the all-time greatest coaches for real estate agents and for our entire industry is Tony DeCello. Now, Tony's currently retired, but check out these numbers. In order to be in Tony's coaching group, you had to have 100 active listings at all times. 100 at all times, right?
That's amazing.
Yeah. Tony's question was, you can gauge the power of the question, or Tony's statement was, you can gauge the power of the question on the silence that follows afterward. Because when I ask you a powerful question, when I don't snorkel and I scuba dive, right? There's an analogy for us. A lot of the time, we're snorkeling, right? Scuba dive, go deep. Ask them about their family. Ask them about what this would look like. 1 through 10, do you like or love your home? If you didn't live in Denver in Highlands Ranch, where in Denver would you live and why? See, now I'm able to gauge that. And you may say, I have a 10 of a home and I love Highlands Ranch. I'm never, ever going to leave. Fantastic. What are the top 3 things that make you love Highlands Ranch that much? Now, who do you know, John, that we could bring into Highlands Ranch so they can share that same experience that you and your family are having? All of those are open questions, and I'm diving deep with you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I also did is I subtly slid in a referral that causing you to think, who do I know?
Right. Mm-hmm.
The other thing is when we're looking at open houses and door knocking, here's something fun. One of the #1 teams out of Kansas City was sharing the fact that her business and big producer, still got you there, her business was over 85% referral based.
Mm-hmm.
And it was mainly door knocking and client parties.
Mm-hmm.
So she's scratching her head going, how do I do this? Right?
Right.
Big business.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Over 150 units a year, big business.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what she did. And I think it's beautiful and genius. She called up her client and said, hey, John, I wanted to let you know I don't have anything to drop off at your door today.
Mm-hmm.
But I miss your smile, man, and I miss our conversations. Would you be okay if we met at the end of your driveway, 6 feet apart? I'll bring a folding chair and a mask, and we just have a chance to talk to each other. What would that look like?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Did I lose it? Okay, gotcha. So what would that look like? Here's what she found out. She was able to have completely authentic conversations. And the key was that she planned it on the time of the day that most of the neighborhood was out walking their dog or taking a walk.
Mm-hmm.
So guess what happened? The rest of the neighbors came in.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, would you mind if we joined you? We miss conversation, right?
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm.
Everybody's starving for community right now. So the question becomes is not what can't I do, how can I create community?
Mm-hmm.
And that could be with several layers. There could be that example of one-on-one. If we're not able to do that, then okay, how can I create a community through Zoom like we're doing right now?
Right.
We can have one-on-one conversations that we talk about the strategies on selling a home during COVID, right? How do you do virtual staging?
Mm-hmm.
Which there's companies that will do that for you, even on vacant homes.
Mm-hmm.
So are we taking advantage of that? Are we saying, hey, what is the benefit of buying right now versus later?
Mm-hmm.
You could create a Zoom group around that and have everybody mastermind in that in private little groups and then all come back together and share your ahas.
Mm-hmm. Aha.
You could do
I like that.
You can do a seller strategy, right?
Yeah.
How do you sell your home now? Selling your home in this market.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what we know. These are unprecedented times.
Right.
Unprecedented.
Mm-hmm.
And because they're unprecedented, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So stop worrying about that.
Mm-hmm.
Let it go. Focus on what you can do today.
Hey, for a minute, I thought you were going to start singing "Let It Go."
I know.
Right there.
Let it go. So, and I think it's, and have some fun with it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
When we at my house, share a personal thing with you. At my house, we have a 16-month-old.
Mm-hmm.
His name's Haven.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a 10-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were working and I was working out of the house, I let everybody know, hey, at any given time, the baby's coming in and wants to sit on my lap and be part of this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Or the 10-year-old could pop his head in.
Mm-hmm.
It's life. So get over the perfection of it. It doesn't have to be.
Awesome.
And it creates a human element that we didn't have before.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the greatest benefits going on right now.
Awesome.
Yeah. So now we're talking open houses, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what can you do? If you can't go into the open house, what can you do? You can do a virtual open house,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can do that through Zoom. You could do it through Facebook Live. Even if you could not even leave let's say it's a stay at home, everyone's at home, no leaving the house. Okay. Mr. Seller, I would love to work with you as a partner and would love to be able to share a Facebook Live video that we can send out to all prospective buyers that are not only in Denver, but in the surrounding areas. Would you be okay with that? What seller is going to say no?
Mm-hmm.
All of them are going to say yes.
Mm-hmm.
So are we leveraging through that?
Mm-hmm.
There's other online systems like I believe it's Matterport, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that gives a 3D look at the home.
Mm-hmm.
That's great for those who are very analytical. But for
Right.
those who want to touch and feel a tangible deal, walking through the home or having the seller walk through the home and share what is their most important, what's their main features of their home that they feel are their selling features.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the key. Show the parts of the home also that may not be the best,
Mm-hmm.
because then we can have a very real conversation, and the reason I say this, that will protect your transaction when you get into a deal with a buyer. That will protect their transaction against them pulling back because maybe the home didn't match up to what the video was.
Mm-hmm.
So taking advantage of that. Also
You know
looking
what?
at the,
I'm gonna interject here just a little bit. So the newer agents in both of our companies, they'll be like, John, I don't have any listings. And I used to do open houses for my older agents. This is the perfect time. This absolutely, what you touched on is absolutely perfect. Go around older agents, they don't know how to do Facebook Live. They don't know how to do
yeah.
virtual open house. Tell them, hey, why don't I go to your listings and why don't I do it for you? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, would you recommend that for young brokers right now?
Absolutely. And I would say that this is the time of partnerships and community. This is not the time to
Mm-hmm.
go out on your own island.
Mm-hmm.
So take a look around your office. Take a look around your community. Go on Facebook and say, hey, gang, I just got my license. I'm super excited. Who could I do a virtual open house for?
Mm-hmm. I love that. And there'll be agents like John, who's older. I would love that help. Yeah, come do
Yeah.
open houses for me, please.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
what kind of value add would that be for you to go back to your client and say, hey, gang, guess what? We
Mm-hmm.
got a strategy and it's looking like this will work.
Mm-hmm.
And this young gunner over here, they're a pro on technology and they're able to show a whole nother opportunity that could be there, because that's the world they live in, right?
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
talk about Facebook, we talk about Instagram, we talk, there's different demographics that associate with each.
Mm-hmm.
So, if we look at Facebook, here's a fun one. So Facebook was a direct competitor with Instagram.
Mm.
And then they bought Instagram.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So there's a key. If you have a direct competitor, maybe have that conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you could create opportunity.
Yes.
For those who are in the business, and here's a fun one for you too. For those that are in the business and they've been in it for 25, 30, maybe even longer,
Yes.
and they're looking at the next stage in their life and what they're looking to do, they may not be interested in going through another market shift.
Mm-hmm.
So why not have a conversation with them that says, hey, you know what? I'm just getting started. I'm super hungry. I would love to be your referral source.
Mm-hmm. That's great, because in my office, I think I probably could name you 20 brokers who used to do 100 deals a year, but they're ready to retire. So for young brokers, go to them. Yeah, go to them and say, hey, can I partner with you? Can I take over your clientele? And I could help you with, social media. I could do all this for you. I'm not looking for a huge split or something. I'm just looking to help you and then eventually grow my clientele through helping you. So I think there will be a lot of brokers who'll be open to that as well.
Absolutely. Here's another thing too, and a little tip for everyone. Really dive in and look at, if you have the funds to do it, there's the key word, because we want to lead with revenue, right?
Yes.
That's a big thing, especially now. So leading with revenue. If you have the revenue and you have the budget to do it, maybe look at pay-per-click ads.
What are those?
So that would be something that Facebook offers, that you get targeted leads that can come from a pay-per-click ad. So now here's part of the keys around this, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first thing would be, as a brand new agent, go set up your business page. You have your Facebook personal page, set up your real estate business page.
Mm-hmm.
Now, by doing that, you're able to two platforms, because folks will typically visit your business page and then go back to your personal page. Yet the business page is very important because you're able to boost that post. So if I do a pay-per-click that's based on 1,000 households or whatever that looks like, maybe it's a pay-per-click that says, I have a buyer for Cherry Creek. I have a buyer for Highlands Ranch. I have a buyer ready to go right now in Denver, right? What I'm doing is then I take that ad and I boost it in my business page.
Right.
So it hits both. And that could be a way. Now, here's the key piece around this is not necessarily immediate results that will happen. It's consistency over time.
Yes.
So here's a fun one for you. So if I have an ad that I post out there and I put, I have a buyer, and I do it once, and I say, I have a buyer, Cherry Creek. What is your perception of that?
Just whatever. Just once. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a buyer in Cherry Creek. Now, if I consistently post around, I have a buyer in Cherry Creek, I have a buyer in Aurora, I have a buyer in Highlands Ranch, and I do this on a system and a model consistently, whether it's day after day or maybe it's week after week, what is your perception then?
Oh, he's a busy realtor.
Yeah. Holy cow. Patrick's got so many buyers. The number one way to gain a listing is to come in with a buyer.
Right.
So as a seller who's getting ready to put their home on the market or thinking or running into these fears that they're having about the current environment, I want to go reach out to someone who has all the buyers.
Right.
So we got to take it that one step further. And that's part of what the opportunity that's in front of us. So you have virtual presentations. You could have a virtual listing presentation, a virtual buyer presentation. You could even write an offer and talk with your broker about this, of course, because I'm not the broker. So talk with the broker, make sure you're in compliance. But what about writing an offer that is contingent, that is based on the sale of another property, or it's based on viewing that property? First inspection. So my buyer inspection to go view that home, maybe that may be the first time I get a chance to look at it. And what happens if it doesn't match the video or the pictures or anything else? I want a contingency to be able to pull out of that. Right.
So, yeah, fortunately, right now, we're okay to go in-person showings.
Exactly.
For now. But if ever changes, if COVID gets worse, then we're ready for it. Absolutely.
Well, I think the other key piece is understanding what's going on in our environment. So when we look at what's going on in the month of June, there were, and this is, I don't have the quote on this, right? So let's just go there for a second. 28 million Americans did not make their mortgage payment in the month. I have not seen July's numbers yet. My guess and my estimation here is that it's probably not going to look much different. Unemployment is up over 40 million Americans right now. There is an economic impact this is going to have. There's no getting out of it. And Denver is just as much in the middle of this as every other major metropolitan. So that could actually lead into opportunities, because that sounded really kind of like dark news, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it really did.
Yeah.
So, and that's why this care call that we started with was so important.
Yeah.
Because we just don't know. Do they need to refinance? Do they need to, or did they do forbearance, right? What is their plan for the rest of the year? Here's what's interesting. We get so hyper-focused on Denver, we close our blinders to everywhere else around us. So if I was looking at building up a business that even as a new agent or experienced agent, I would look at agent-to-agent referrals. Where in the country is COVID hitting and it's shutting everything down? What if you form strong relationships with the top producers in those areas who can't leave their homes, but they have buyers and sellers that are moving all over the country? Could that provide a referral opportunity for you, and it only took a phone call?
Sure.
So there could be several legs of a business that you're able to dive into. The passive, the active, and the referrals coming in.
Awesome. Great pointers, great hints. I love it. And I think we will end this with maybe just a little saying of gratitude for us being in Colorado because,
Yeah.
in the past week, our numbers are actually improving pretty well for COVID.
Yeah.
So we're also very thankful that for all of our realtors in Colorado that we're able to do in-person showings. So very grateful that we have this privilege to go ahead and service our clients during this pandemic. And finally, one last word from Patrick to encourage all of our young brokers. One last little thing. How about a word of encouragement before we end?
You can do it. You can do it in this environment. It's been done before. You can do it again. Real estate is being bought and sold every single day. So the question is not what can't you do? The question is what can you do? Reach out to those that are around you that have experience and that have some strategies. And this is the time to lean in. If there's coaching opportunities, if there's things that are training opportunities that can take your business to the next level, don't push back from it, lean in. And that's probably the best advice I could give is keep on going, right?
I
Play
love
the
your
Rocky soundtrack.
I love it. I love your saying, just show up.
Just show up.
Okay.
Absolutely. You'd be amazed on what happens.
Awesome. Hey, appreciate it, Patrick. Thank you for your time again, and wish you all the luck, and to you and your agents over there at Keller Williams Executives in Highlands
Awesome.
Ranch. All
Hey,
right.
John, if there's anything,
Uh-huh.
before I let you go, is there anything that I can do for you today?
You know, I think we're done. I mean, you